you can find the recipe at cookingenglish.co.uk. This is my friend Lindsay, and it's her recipe. She's going to be making it for us. So tell us, when do you normally eat pecan pie?
Sure, thanks for having me, Claire. We normally eat it during the autumn months and usually after Thanksgiving dinner in November. And so you may have heard of pumpkin pie, which is the most popular Thanksgiving dessert. It's a custard-based pie. But pecan pie is a sticky and chewy dessert, which is my favorite kind. So I really love it very much.
And I say pecan because I'm from Britain. How would you normally say it?
I normally say pecan pie, but it comes from the southeast of the United States, and they typically say pecan pie. So I think today we should call it pecan pie.
Okay, so we're going to make pecan pie, so watch the rest of the video to see how it's done.
So for the pie crust you need regular all-purpose plain flour, granulated sugar, salt, butter, lard, ice cubes, and for the filling you need butter, brown sugar, vanilla extract, corn syrup, salt, an orange, eggs and pecans. Okay, so first of all you have to make the pie crust if you're not going to buy it ready-made from the supermarket, that is. So you can see that Lindsay has put the dry ingredients together in the bowl. That is the flour, the salt and the sugar. And she's giving it a good old mix. On the surface you can see there's some cling wrap waiting for when the dough is actually ready, and this makes enough for 2 pie crusts. The next thing you have to do is get the fat ready, and it's a lot easier if you cut them into dice before you begin. So Lindsay's chopping up the butter and she'll add that to the flour and salt and sugar a little bit later. She's going to do the same thing to the lard, and apparently in the States they call lard Crisco because that's the brand name. There it is, and this was a little bit too soft on the day, so what we actually did was put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes. Pastry likes the cold. You get better pastry if all of your ingredients are cold when you make it. So you can see she's adding the fat to the flour just now, and she's going to use this pretty cool device that's chopping up the fat for her, so you don't have to do a lot of hard work there. The instrument will do it for you. And you want this to be quite fine. Basically the fat should be the size of peas when you're finished. And to this you have to add the cold water, and basically you're going to add as much as you like so that the dough forms a ball that isn't too sticky. And as I said, pastry likes cold ingredients, so she's cooled the water down by adding some ice cubes to it. And she's just going to gather this all together and put in as much water as is necessary. My grandmother used to say it should lick the bowl clean, so there shouldn't be any flour left in the bottom of the bowl when it's finished. And as I've said, this makes enough for 2 pie crusts. We're just going to use 1 today for the pecan pie. So when it's ready, that looks ready to me. Lindsay just separates it in 2, and she'll wrap both pieces with cling film, and one will go in the freezer and it'll just wait until she needs it again. And the other one we're going to use today, but you have to refrigerate it for as long as possible before you use it. And I think we left it in the fridge for about 30 minutes that particular day. Okay, so here it is taken out of the refrigerator, and on her lovely clean surface she's going to put some flour so it doesn't stick. And then we'd usually use a rolling pin, and we'd flour that too. And the rolling pin is usually wooden or even marble, But in this case, Lindsay's using, yes, a wine bottle. That will work just as well. Don't press on it too hard though, just in case. And you can see she put some flour onto her makeshift rolling pin so that the pastry doesn't stick to that. And you want it to be quite thin. Nobody likes a lot of pastry in their pie. So when it's done, you have to move it over to the dish that you're using, and that's the awkward bit. And if there are any holes at this stage, you just use the pastry, the excess pastry, just to fill them. And then when you've done that, you can see there's a little bit of pastry hanging over the side. That doesn't matter. You prick the base with a fork. And for this recipe, you don't have to blind bake the pastry. You just put the filling straight into it when it's ready. So the pastry went back in the refrigerator and Lindsay's moving on to the filling. So she's mixing together the sugar and the butter. And you don't want this on too high a heat, otherwise it will burn. You can see she's just turned it down there. And I remember this takes quite a lot of preparation in that you need quite a lot of bowls ready. And I'll tell you why in a moment. So when it's melted, you add the vanilla extract. And I think she's turned the heat off now, just to stop it from cooking anymore. And the corn syrup. And you'll see in the recipe on cookingenglish.co.uk that you could use molasses, which we call black treacle, instead of this, which would make a much richer dessert, but it's pretty rich already if you just use the corn syrup. It's delicious. And then some salt. It just seems to bring out the flavour. It seems quite popular at the minute, salted caramels and all that. So then some orange zest, and in a separate bowl she's just whisking together the eggs. If I remember rightly, it's 3 eggs. Yep. And obviously if you put the hot sugar into the eggs, they will scramble and that won't be very nice. So that's why we used quite a few bowls here, just to make sure everything was nice and cool. So Lindsay's pouring the sugar mixture into another bowl now, out of the hot pan. And you can see in the background that she's preheated the oven as well. And the eggs are going into that. So that should help to prevent the cooking of the egg. It should just mix together nicely. And then she's going to spread the pecans around the refrigerated pie crust. I can't talk. And for some reason, the pecans don't sit at the bottom when it's cooked. You'll see that they rise to the top. I don't know why that happens, but I'm glad that it does. It's delicious. Everything's delicious about this pie. Look at that. She's pouring over the beautiful sugar mix. And then that's it. You just have to cook it. And this takes just under an hour in the oven. And when it's ready, you want to serve it with cream or ice cream. And it's perfect for Thanksgiving, perfect for Christmas. I'd eat it any time. Look at that. Delicious.